Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'd love it if you hit the like button and the subscribe button below. It helps me out a ton. It helps with the algorithm to make sure that my videos are actually reaching people who might need to hear these things. I share videos on a weekly basis about personal finance and budgeting tips. This video is going to be something that a lot of people might want to hear. I know these tips are things that I wish someone had told me before I started university. I had to learn them on my own, but I think they could be very helpful to a lot of people. Post-secondary education can be daunting solely because of the financial burden that it creates for a lot of people. At the end of the day, college or university is very expensive. Graduating university completely debt-free can be very tough. Today, I'll be sharing some of the tips that helped me graduate university completely debt-free, and I was even able to buy my first car in full very quickly after graduating. The cost of attending university in North America varies depending on the location, the type of institution that you're studying at, and the program that you decide to study. On average, a year of tuition in North America can cost you anywhere from $2,000 all the way up to $30,000 and even more depending on those factors. Additionally, it's important to keep in mind that these costs go beyond just the cost of tuition. You also have to take into consideration the cost of transportation, the cost of textbooks, the cost of living, and some other factors that you'll have to keep in mind that might be specific to you. If you'll be attending university or college soon, please keep watching. There might be some tips in here that might be helpful to you. If you know a parent whose child might be attending post-secondary school soon, who might be stressed about budgeting and financing and things like that for when their kid is going to be in school, please share this video with them. There might be something in here that might help them as well. Let's dive right in. So just to put this into perspective for you, I grew up in a 7-person household. So it was myself, my parents, and my 4 other siblings. We grew up in low-income housing our entire lives, or until very recently. And I knew very, very early on that if I wanted to go to college or to university, it was either going to be, I paid for it myself, or it meant that I was going to be in a lot of debt when I graduated. And that didn't sit very well with me. So I did a ton of research before university and all throughout university to make sure that I was doing everything I possibly could to make sure that I didn't graduate in a ton of debt. These are the steps that I took to make sure that I graduated university debt-free. So I did a 4-year program, and step 1 for me for graduating debt-free was planning way, way ahead of time. So I didn't wait until the first day of university to start searching for, financial aid and things like that. I started very, very early on. Step 1 for me was planning ahead, and that meant figuring out which program I wanted to take in university. So this is kind of like irrelevant to the financial side of it, but what this meant is I knew which programs I wanted to take when I got to university, which meant that I wasn't wasting time taking other programs early on and then maybe figuring out, 6 months in, or, a semester in, or 2 semesters in, that maybe I wasn't happy with that program, and then I would end up like switching programs. I knew a lot of people who did do that. That's completely okay. I mean, a lot of people don't know what they want to take in their first year of university, and it might be kind of an exploratory phase for you. That's okay. But if you do end up taking that extra year, that extra time, that's time wasted and it's money wasted in a way. So if you can plan ahead and figure out which career options work for you, make sure that you're taking the right courses in high school. If you need the maths, if you need the sciences, if you need the English courses, make sure that you take them so that you don't have to settle for something when you do get to university and you end up basically spending more money than you need to. So when you're choosing your high school courses to take, make sure you consider which program you're taking in university and make sure that you know which prerequisites you need for it. So some courses or some programs that you might need in university or college might require, a certain number of academic courses so that they can take the average of that to figure out, your acceptance. There might be programs that need a certain number of math courses, a certain number of science courses, a certain number of English courses. Make sure that you need exactly what you need before you graduate, or make sure that you're basically planning like as early as like grade 10, grade 11, so that by the time grade 11 and 12 roll around, you've already basically signed up for the right courses and you're ready to go. So you want to make sure that when you're choosing these courses that you're taking into consideration your career interests. So you want to consider your future career goals, and you want to make sure that those courses align with that, or the program that you're applying to aligns with that. You also want to take into consideration your own personal strengths. So for myself personally, I knew that I excelled at math and science. It came to me pretty naturally compared to other subjects. So I knew that I wanted to go into something that basically helped or let me use those strengths. So I decided to go into an engineering program. Lastly, when you're choosing your courses, get advice from other people. So if you do have, a school counselor, a parent, a friend who's maybe already graduated and gone on to university, ask them for advice. So maybe they've gone to the same university that you're interested in. Maybe they can see your strengths from the outside looking in better than you can in some ways. Get some advice from them and see what they think, and maybe consider that when you're making your decision. Also remember that high school is kind of a time when you can explore the subjects that you want to explore. You want to figure out what your strengths are at that time. So, as early as grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, make sure that you're taking courses and figuring out what your strengths are, what your interests are, what you're good at, what you're not good at. This is the perfect time for you. So have some fun with it and take the courses that you want to take in high school. That way in university, it's a lot less stressful. Step 2 for graduating debt-free is to consider what scholarships and grants the university or college that you're going to might offer. So there are some universities or colleges that offer entrance scholarships. So if you have a minimum average, basically you would be automatically given these scholarships. So for myself personally, I had an entrance scholarship and I was able to keep that for my 4 years of university, which meant that it wasn't all of my university that was paid off, but maybe like 60 or 70% of my tuition was paid off because of my entrance scholarship. So I knew this like very, very early on, maybe as early as grade 10. And I knew that in grade 11 and in grade 12, I wanted to keep my average above an 80% or 90% so that I could get this entrance scholarship when I got to university, because I knew I needed it in order to not have some crazy debt when I graduated. Something to keep in mind at the same time, just because you get an entrance scholarship, so you might be accepted into a university and they give you some entrance scholarship because let's say your average was above a 90% for a certain number of academic courses that you took in high school. That doesn't mean that they're going to pay for your full, let's say 4 years of schooling. That means every semester it might be reevaluated. So if your average goes below a certain threshold while you're in university, you may lose that scholarship for the next semesters. So make sure that you keep that in mind. It's not an automatic full ride the whole time you're in university type of thing. Usually academic scholarships are reconsidered every semester. So do keep that in mind. You can also apply to additional scholarships, grants, and bursaries through your university's website. So go to that specific university or college's website and make sure that you're searching for these things. So again, I did this in my first year of university. I started searching for additional sources of income or additional sources of like scholarships. I knew I had a good average when I was in university and maybe I could apply to certain things. A lot of them will depend on your household income and your financial situation and your grades in school and some other factors, but it's worthwhile to see if they do have something like that on their website so that you can apply early on. Do a quick search in your area to see what financial options or financial aid options are available for you. For myself in Ontario, that meant OSAP. So part of the funding that they give you is debt that you have to pay back at the end of your study or the end of that program that you're applying for. And the other portion of it, depending on your income situation or your household income situation, is like a bursary that you don't have to pay back. So it's worthwhile to apply and see what you're eligible for. Step 3 is to start working and saving as early as you can. So I had a job as early as grade 9. It was a part-time job and I was just saving a little bit of cash every week or every month that I was getting paid so that I could put it towards my university fund that I had. You'll want to take into consideration, like I said, things like textbooks, things like transportation, some other factors for when you get to university, even the cost of like eating on campus and things like that. You want to make sure that, of course, university is an enjoyable time for you. Take all of that into consideration, start working early on. And remember, you can most likely also have a part-time job while you're in university, depending on your course load and your schedule at school. So I had a part-time job and I did like a scholarship program throughout university, and that helped me make and save a little bit of money as well. When you do find a job, you'll want to make sure that your employer is flexible and understanding. Of course, you're going to have exams, you're going to have assignments, you're going to have courses that you have to take. You want to make sure that your employer understands this and is flexible with the shifts that they give you. And if an assignment is due the next day or something like that, or something comes up by surprise, you want to make sure that your shifts can get covered and that you're not going to be penalized for that. You'll also want to take advantage of the months between semesters where you don't have school. So if there's a semester that you have off, that's your chance to work full time, to pick up some more shifts, and to basically go hustle and make a little bit of extra money so that when you do go back to school, you can pay for that semester. You can also talk to some of the professors that you take classes with to see if they have research projects that you can get involved with, and a lot of times these pay really good money. This leads me to step number 4, and that is staying home if you can. So I might not have come from the richest household growing up, but my parents were more than happy to have myself and my 4 other siblings stay home until we were ready to move out. So if you are fortunate enough to have that convenience of staying at home, reap the benefits as long as you can. So for me, that meant home cooked meals. My laundry was always washed and folded for me. I had a clean house to go home to every day. I didn't have to worry about cleaning and cooking, transportation. I was a walking distance from school. Take all of these factors into consideration. And like I said, if you are fortunate enough to be able to stay at home with your family, take advantage for as long as you can. Like I said, this means no rent, no groceries, so much extra time saved, so much extra money saved, which means that you have more time now to focus on studying and doing well in school, maintaining your GPA, and graduating the way that you plan to. Step 5 is using used textbooks. So it might not seem that significant compared to the first 4 steps, but actually used textbooks can save you hundreds of dollars every single semester. For me, I saved lots and lots of money just talking to people that were a year ahead of me in school, going on Kijiji, going on Facebook Marketplace, and seeing what was available in my area that I could get my hands on so that I could save a few dollars. A lot of times there are online versions of textbooks as well that are much more cost effective that you can use. If you do graduate with some debt, that's okay. Just make sure that you're paying it off as promptly as possible so that you're not accruing any additional interest. These are the steps that help me avoid student debt. I hope this is helpful to you, and I hope that you have an even better experience than I did. And I hope that you graduate with tons of money in your pocket and a degree that you can hang on your wall and not be completely stressed out about. If you're a parent struggling with the thought of your child having to get themselves through university financially, the best thing that you can do is help guide them to finding the right information for financial aid. School is expensive, and it's understandable that not every parent can put their child through 4+ years of schooling for thousands and thousands of dollars. There is hope though. If you plan early, hopefully you can have the same or an even better experience than I did. As always, if you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate all of your support. Please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. This helps me out a ton. I can't wait to make more content for you guys, and I hope that this was helpful. Have a great day, everyone.